Hello, everyone, and welcome to Truk's Daily Life. My name is Truk, and I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised in a poor family in a small village in Ninh Hải, Vietnam, in a family that has faced many difficulties. I currently study and work in Vin City. My life may not be glamorous, but there are many little stories and moments that I want to capture and share with you. In my previous videos, I've shared quite a bit about my everyday life. And today I'm going to spend some time cleaning and organizing my family's kitchen. This is where I often prepare meals, and it's also a place filled with many simple family moments. After being used for quite some time, the kitchen has become a little messy. So today I've decided to take some time to clean it up and put everything back in order. If you've just happened to stop by, I hope you'll stay and begin this journey with me. I'm really happy to have you here. A new day for me often begins with simple, familiar household chores. After finishing the laundry, I usually take the clothes outside to hang them up before moving on to other things. I really enjoy the feeling of freshly washed clothes drying naturally in the sunlight, as they always have such a clean and pleasant scent. It may be a small task, but it's also a simple part of my everyday life, here in the countryside. Hanging laundry is probably one of the most familiar household chores in my daily life. When I was a child, I often watched my mom do this every day, from washing clothes and hanging them out to dry to folding them neatly. Back then, I thought these were just ordinary chores. But as I grew older, I realized how much time and effort my mom put into keeping our home clean and organized. Now it's my turn to do these things every day. Sometimes I feel a little tired, but when I see the clothes hanging on the line, gently moving in the breeze and carrying that fresh scent of sunlight, I feel a quiet sense of peace. Maybe these simple moments are actually some of the most beautiful parts of everyday life. After hanging the laundry, I come back inside to prepare breakfast. Today, my breakfast is very simple. Just 2 boiled eggs. I usually enjoy simple breakfasts like this because they don't take much time to prepare, but they still give me enough energy to start the day. I didn't always have the habit of eating breakfast regularly. In the past, I often skipped it because I was in a hurry to go to school or work. But over time, I realized that taking just a little time for myself in the morning helps me feel healthier and more energetic throughout the day. 2 boiled eggs may not seem like a special breakfast, but for me, simple moments like this make a quiet morning in the countryside feel peaceful and comforting. This is my family's small kitchen, where I usually prepare simple meals every day. It's not spacious or modern, but this little kitchen has been part of our family for a long time. However, looking at it today, I realize that things have become quite messy and really need to be cleaned up. So I'm going to start organizing everything step by step and make the kitchen clean and tidy again. First, I'm going to start with the kitchen area, the place where grease and dust tend to build up the most. I'll use a clean cloth to wipe down the entire countertop, then carefully clean the gas stove and the wall behind it. The little grease stains may not seem like much at first, but over time, they can make the whole kitchen look much older and dirtier. Every time I clean this area, I think of my mom. Ever since I was little, I've been familiar with the sight of her standing here, preparing meals for the whole family. There were many days when she had so much work to do, yet she still made sure to clean and tidy the kitchen before resting. When I was younger, I never realized how much time and effort those simple tasks actually required. Now that I'm doing these things myself, I understand that behind a clean kitchen and a warm homemade meal, there's so much care that we often take for granted. So today, I want to spend some time taking care of this little kitchen, the place that has held so many family meals and precious memories. Next, I'm going to tackle a small corner of the kitchen where I've been storing things for quite a while. This is where I keep the rice container, along with lots of other little household items. Since I don't clean this area very often, it has become quite cluttered, and there's also quite a bit of dust and dirt. First, I'm going to take everything out so I can properly clean every corner. Looking at all the things I've collected, I realize I've probably been keeping too many things here. There are even a few items that I can't remember the last time I used. Once everything is cleared out, I'll sweep away the dust and dirt from the floor. Then, I'll use a cloth to carefully wipe down the surfaces and those small corners that are usually easy to overlook. I want this area to be not only cleaner, but also much more organized and convenient to use. Today, I've decided to give this little corner a complete makeover. I'm actually curious to see how different it will look when I'm finished. So let's see the final result. At the end of the video, I happened to find this little cabinet at a scrapyard. At first, I thought it might no longer be usable. But after taking a closer look, I realized it was still quite sturdy and only needed a good cleaning before it could be used again. So I decided to bring it home and give it a second life instead of letting it go to waste. I'm planning to use to store our bowls and chopsticks and place it in the corner of the kitchen that I just cleaned. Hopefully this old cabinet can have a new purpose and bring a little more order and convenience to our small family kitchen. Before I can start using this cabinet, the first thing I need to do is give it a really good cleaning. Since it had been sitting at a scrapyard, there was quite a bit of dust and dirt on it, so I'm going to clean every little corner, especially the areas inside where dust tends to collect. To be honest, when I first brought this cabinet home, I felt a little embarrassed because my family asked, "Why did you bring something someone threw away back home?" But I believe that not every old item is useless. As long as it's still sturdy and can be used, I'd rather give it a second life than buy something new. I actually enjoy the feeling of turning something that was once considered useless into something helpful for my family. This cabinet may not be new or beautiful, but after cleaning and organizing it, I hope it can become a small but useful part of our kitchen. So before putting it in its new place, I'm going to take some time to clean it thoroughly. Let's see how much this old cabinet can change. While waiting for the cabinet to dry, I decided to take the opportunity to sweep the house. Since I had already started cleaning the kitchen today, I thought I might as well clean the surrounding areas too. I believe that spending just a little time cleaning every day can make the whole house feel much cleaner and more comfortable. For me, these simple chores may seem ordinary, but they actually help me relax. It feels almost like I'm not only tidying up my living space, but also clearing my mind and putting my thoughts in order. After sweeping away the dust and dirt, I'm going to mop the floor. Just one good wipe can make a big difference. The little stains and footprints from everyday life slowly disappear, and the whole house looks much cleaner and brighter. I used to find housework a little boring because it's something we have to do over and over again. But as I've grown older, I've realized that these simple chores are what make our living space feel more comfortable. Seeing the house gradually become cleaner and tidier also makes me feel much more relaxed and refreshed. After letting it air dry for a while, the cabinet is now mostly dry. I'm going to use a clean cloth to dry the entire cabinet, especially the small corners and the inside of the shelves. I want to make sure everything is completely dry before bringing it into the kitchen. Looking at the cabinet now, it already looks quite different from when I first brought it home. At the beginning, it was covered in dust and looked a little worn. But after giving it a thorough cleaning, its original details are starting to show again. I think we don't always have to buy new things to make our homes look better. An old piece of furniture, when given a little care and attention, can still be useful and bring its own special charm. The cabinet is actually quite light, but because it's a little bulky, I couldn't carry it into the kitchen by myself. So I had to ask my mom to give me a hand. Sometimes even the simplest tasks can be harder than they look when you try to do them alone. Luckily, having my mom help me made everything much easier. I gently pushed the new cabinet into the corner of the kitchen. Seeing it fit perfectly in this space, I can already see how much this little corner has changed. It's an old piece of furniture, but after being cleaned and given a new purpose, it has become really useful. Next, I'm going to take all the bowls and dishes out of the old rack. Since we've been using it for quite a long time, there are quite a few things stacked on top of each other, making the space look a little cramped and messy. I'll carefully take everything out one by one, and also check if there are any items that are old or no longer being used. Looking at this old rack, I realized that it has actually been part of our family for quite a long time. Even though it's no longer new, it has always been the place where we keep the bowls and dishes we use for our everyday meals. Now that everything is cleared out, I can really see how much this space needs to be reorganized and made more tidy. I gently place each bowl and plate into the different compartments, trying to arrange everything neatly, while also making sure it's easy to take out when needed. I'll keep the bowls and plates we use most often in the most accessible spots. Before, the dishes were packed quite tightly, so whenever I needed something, I sometimes had to move several other items just to get to it. That's why this time, I want everything to have its own proper place. As I see each bowl and plate neatly arranged inside the cabinet, I feel like the kitchen looks much more spacious and comfortable. So, after spending the whole morning cleaning, I've finally finished this little corner of the kitchen. Looking back at how messy and cluttered it was at the beginning, I can really see the difference now. The old cabinet I happened to bring home has now found its place in the kitchen, with all the bowls and plates neatly arranged inside. The floor and the surrounding area are also much cleaner and more organized. I especially love the feeling of seeing a familiar space become brighter and more spacious after putting in the effort to clean it myself. It may not be a huge transformation, but for me, having a clean kitchen with everything in its proper place makes it much more pleasant every time I walk in. So the kitchen is finally clean and tidy. Everything looks much better now, and I'm really happy with the result. Thank you so much for spending your time watching this video. If you enjoy these simple moments from my everyday life, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to support my channel. Your support means a lot to me and motivates me to keep making more videos. See you in my next video.